Good afternoon. I'm Naresh Khanna of Packaging South Asia, an Indian printer and publisher. And this is the 23rd of December, 2020. A fairly difficult year, I must say. But I am pleased to have a visitor finally, someone who's come to our office after a long time. But Karan Talwar is an old friend. And he has recently, I think in the past year, been promoted to Director of Sales for Esko for the Indian subcontinent. And I'll ask Karan to share with us, what has this year been like? How has it been to be a salesman without being able to travel? How have you convinced people? How has business been? What is the industry like? What are some of your successes? And what are some of the challenges you faced?
Thank you, Naresh, for having me here. As you spoke about 2020, as one of my friends was telling me, it's finally coming to an end. That's how 2020 has been. But I think overall, if I talk about the packaging industry as a whole and for Esko's business, it's been a checkered year. Started with a lot of bullish sentiments, but as the pandemic came up and the lockdowns happened, things kind of stopped completely. And one good thing that happened, I think the first thing, the real realization was, let's accept it as the new normal. So the new normal was accepted. People started using, the different kind of tools to communicate. Different kind of structures were built to ensure that the business continuity happens, and that's what also ESCO implemented. So we utilized a lot of new tools like Microsoft Teams and things like that to communicate to our customers. A lot of remote activities, video calls, all those things happened. So that was one thing that I think everyone in the industry implemented and kind of got into that groove of the new normal. Overall, the industry, I think packaging was kind of immune to this pandemic situation. And one important factor that happened, that a lot of bulk buying happened in the industry. So the people went to the markets. They wanted to buy as much as possible just to stock it. So a lot of packaging had to happen at that time. Also, the packaging came up as as a factor of health and hygiene. So packed good, pharma, the medicines and other things. So they have to be there in the market all the time. So that was another good thing that happened with packaging. So a lot of pharma packaging that developed a lot. A lot of new things happened there. A lot of food packaging. Anything that used to be sold open earlier, they got packed and that they got into the shelves. So that's another good thing that happened. And as I've been talking to a lot of my customers, having a dip in the Q2 of this year, they are practically back at the pre-pandemic or pre-lockdown, I would say pre-lockdown level of the business, which is pretty good.
Okay, I see. We've been talking, and Karan has told me that there has been quite a bit of uptake on the automation tools, and on the software tools, and that includes the automation tools and the other enterprise tools. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So, the way the industry is transformed and the way I've seen, packaging, a lot of art has been actually, transformed towards science now. And everyone in the packaging supply chain, they realize that having the right technology, the right software and systems working around it, implemented around it, will make the entire system much more efficient. And that's where the ESCO systems like automation engine or our online collaboration and packaging management systems like Web Center, they did exceedingly well this year. So a lot of our customers, they implemented automation engine just to ensure that the entire pre-press is much more efficient. People working out of home have access to those systems remotely, and many of the tasks which were more of intelligent tasks where a human intervention is not required can be performed by these systems. And also the online systems where multi-locational customers, they could collaborate easily. They can manage their projects easily. So that's where Web Center again came up as a very, very handy tool. Another one thing that I want to add is, with this no touch policy that happened, One thing that excelled is also the 3D technology from Esko, where people could actually communicate in a 3D structure, a 3D structure of packaging. And any vertical, any kind of packaging could be created and communicated to their end customers. They could, view it, annotate it.
That was your studio software?
That's the studio software. So the entire studio umbrella of our software that also did exceedingly well this year, and we see that trend continuing further.
And I believe you have another software which is also friendly, like studio software, Share and Approve.
Yes, that's Share and Approve. So that's Share and Approve is also a very easy to use on the cloud system where you create a 3D, and if you want to send it to your customer rather than using the generic emails, you send it over a web browser.
Okay.
And the customers over a PC, general web browser, or even a mobile app, they can actually visualize how the packaging will look like in 3D.
They can do rotation and everything.
Rotation, they can review it, annotate it, approve it, reject it, have digital signatures in there. So no contact policy being taken care by these systems.
And it's browser based. They don't need to have any kind of a 3D reader or a PDF reader.
Everything happens in the browser.
Okay. It happens in Chrome or it happens in Safari or whatever.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. I believe you've also had a very good year in selling digital imaging engines, your output devices. What is the trend there?
So Flexo, the Flexo printing as it is was growing very well in India, and you know that a lot of things are happening in terms of flexible packaging. The transition is happening from Grego to Flexo. So that trend was there, and that fortunately that continued further. Couple of trends that we could see, and that's where our CDI technology, the Flexo images that we have, they did exceedingly well again this year. One, we see that the top level trade shops or converters, they invested in the better technologies, in the newer technologies that we came up with, especially the crystal umbrella of systems that we have, the crystal CDI, the crystal XPS that we have, which is a breakthrough technology, simultaneous front and back UV ready exposure, which takes your flexo plate making consistency and quality to the next level. So a lot of those technologies, were bought. Apart from that, the other thing that we could see that is the suppliers are getting closer to the final packaging buyers. So tier 2 customers, tier 2 in the tier 2 cities, they bought these flexo imagers.
Okay.
And also, probably the I would say the upper end of analog trade shops. They also realize that for them to survive in this game, digital is the only mode. They have to go ahead with a digital system. Otherwise, it's very difficult to survive.
So that means overall the trend for flexo growth it continues, and the trend from analog to digital flexo continues, and the trend from the big metros to the tier 2 and the tier 3 continues.
Another one trend that I have seen is, the converters. The converters also are realizing that having a pre-press and a plate making system in-house can give them a lot of control for them to innovate and print as per what their customers want. So that's another trend that we've seen, and there are a lot of converters also who've gone in-house in terms of their pre-flexo, pre-press and plate making system.
Okay, thank you, Karan. That's wonderful. Good news. So what do you see in the coming year?
The coming year, I see the trend continuing. I was just talking to one of my colleagues that the next year we are looking at minimum 20-25% growth, which is wonderful. I think in terms of packaging and overall business. So that's what we foresee now.
That's very good. That's news from the ground up, news from the actual person who's out there on the front line, and that is also our perception that by and large packaging and labels have bucked the trend of the economy. That packaging and labels have been a sector which has been surprisingly strong and which is still building capacity. We see huge capacities coming online in 2021 also. Thank you, Karan.
Thank you, Naresh. Thank you.